AQST, baby, in the house. My favorite stock, maybe becoming of all time. I don't know. Maybe it's too early for that. I think it has to give me like 10x returns before I can call it all time. But this is one of the first ones where I really feel, besides the obvious one, besides Tesla and Amazon in 2010, Facebook and IPO, all that stuff, it's obvious. Those are things you put in your retirement. But like for biotech, okay, this might be my favorite biotech of all time. How about that? So far. So far.
You know what? I this is my favorite, and we have talked about it in the past as several reasons why. Uh, the fact that has a I have a personal connection
That's
uh,
powerful.
to the drug or the lack thereof at the time, and I think I have a passion for this company, rooting for it so hard to succeed. This is beyond making money off the investment or whatever, and it's done great so far. But
Yep.
to me, it's about revolutionizing a treatment that is needed for so long. You know, we've had EpiPen for forever, but yet every day you hear somebody dying of anaphylaxis, right? I tweet those stories out almost on a daily basis. Why is that? People don't carry EpiPens around because one, they're terrified of the needle and the act of injecting yourself with it. That's even worse, right? Um, and that's why people wait, even if they carry the EpiPen with them, they would wait until it gets really, really bad. But they should have done the opposite. The moment they felt their throat getting itchy, that's the time, because time is of the essence. It's life and death. And so people, because of that needle, they wait until the last moment. But by then, it's just too late. Even if they've given themselves the EpiPen, the shot, it may not be enough. And many of them maybe just carry one EpiPen with them, whereas they're supposed to be carrying two at all times.
Right.
So there's all kinds of problem that we have with the current treatment paradigm, just the auto injectors. Yeah, it's something, but that's why even doctors don't write enough of the drug. So with just food allergies alone, there are estimates of 33 million people in the US that should be carrying a rescue epinephrine with treatment with them, right? So that's just food, 33 million. But out of that 33 millions, only 5 million prescriptions are written per year. So what the question you're asking is, what happened to the other 28 million lives
Yeah.
should be carrying around the rescue medication? And how much larger is the population if you start adding the chemical allergies, the pollen and all that
Yeah.
stuff? So the market for Anafilm or epinephrine in general is very large, but the reason that it is so small is because of the needle.
Yeah.
Even doctors don't like to prescribe it. That's why it's so low. That's why the unmet need is so large. And
I
somebody asked me,
even I did some research on this to prepare. So the direct cost of anaphylaxis in the United States is estimated at 1.2 billion annually. Now, 294 million of that is spent on epi products, which is mostly right the currently approved stuff. They're not counting Neffy because they haven't started selling.
right.
But it's 1.2 versus 294 million that they're actually selling. But the direct cost, including hospitalization and all that stuff, gets up to 1.2 billion. So, like you just said, The fact that there's an untapped market that's not getting anything, doctors don't like to prescribe. That market, that curve, that demand curve is going to shift. Anyone that took a microeconomics class knows when that curve shifts up, that's a better thing. You're capturing more of the market. That's a more ideal situation to be in. And the fact, this is the part, okay, biotech scanner. It's like a miracle I don't say your name every 5 minutes. Aquestive manufactures their own IP, in-house production compared to who makes Neffy? ARS? What is that? Arena or something?
Yeah, ARS pharmaceuticals.
They rely on device makers, and then the IP they probably make it in-house, the actual IP, but they rely on that device.
Right.
Okay, Aquestive Anafilm is that's their technology. They actually make that same technology for other companies. So that's like
correct.
Tesla making their own chips for
Yeah.
their cars.
Yes. It's like Nvidia making these amazing chips, right? Like the Blackwell that is coming. It's being delayed right now. And then they're actually building their own, computers or data centers or whatever. They build everything. So that's exactly what's going on with Aquestive. So Catalan is the company that makes the Neffy device. Okay, because and because it's the exact device that Narcan is put in. So Catalan, they make all kinds of devices for pharmaceutical companies. So ARS rely on the manufacturing of the device, whereas Aquestive Therapeutics, everything is in house. They make the film, they put the drug on the film, and they put the drug in the sleeve, and that's part of that packaging business that they have. And so everything is done. So you're not sharing anything, any profits to anyone. This is all there, and so that's why this company to me is so attractive to invest in, because they control their own destiny. They control everything from the beginning to the end. Now other companies could come and say, hey, you have the Adrenoverse and you have the Flom film. We want to make this drug for this disease. How about we do that together? And so what they do, and they've done it before, okay, let's do that. So we split it maybe 50, 60, 40, 50, 50, whatever. And so there's so many different avenues that Aquestive can generate revenues, right? Not just Anafilm, Libovin, AQST 108, or other agents that's coming in the pipeline. I mean, this is what, and the fact that the market cap right now is only about 430 million. It's amazing to me. It's so undervalued.
Yep.
You look at ARS, the Neffy maker, their market cap is around 1.2 billion or so, 1.3, and they'll only have one drug. And so that is why when I said investor in ARS, they basically have almost reached the ceiling. If I were invested in ARS and I bought it in around $5 and it's now like 12 or 13 and it went up to 16, I would have sold and make profit, and that's it. I would have taken that profit and invest in Aquestive. I mean, that would be a prudent thing to do as an investor or as a trader even. But hey, it's not my money, so people just do whatever they want. But I just want to say that Aquestive, starting now until the end of 2025, there will be basically one catalyst after another. And the amazing thing is, if Anafilm is approved and is pretty much almost a done deal that would be approved because the data from the other trials were all it really passed with flying colors, basically.
Yep.
So because Anafilm is a rescue medication, so the FDA puts it through a very strenuous test because it's life and death. So if Anafilm is approved, the other drugs that's coming through the pipeline, it's going to be so much easier to be approved because it's not put through life and death situations.
I was just talking to the doctor I work with, one of them, he's texting me right now. Don't forget to mention, like, and I don't think it's ever been mentioned before. We kind of dance around this, but the manufacturing cost of Anafilm, which is a polymer matrix-based film,
Yeah.
They have the established manufacturing process. Like it's in the importance of this is insane.
Yeah.
The distribution and storage. Remember, AQST has a 50 million a year revenue in packaging and distribution. That they're just have to plug in their own IP into this system. They're already doing this for other people. They're going to do this for all their products. Our boy Dan Barber said 20 potential. You're the one who pointed this out. 20 potential that we kind of all missed because we're all super excited about. By the way, guys, the reason I invested in this early was Libervant. And I knew, okay, if this gets approval for pediatrics by 27, we're going to get the adult patent to come off. Then we have Libervant for adults. We're living in bonus territory. Like for me, like now you're talking about a cream for derm. Now you're talking about 20 more potential people, and this is still 430. I hate to sound like I'm pumping the stock all the time, but I don't know. I've never been this excited about a biotech. And if I'm wrong, I'm willing to be, and probably with you, on the record historically wrong. I'm okay with that. I think there's a high floor for this company.
Well, when I talk share price and stuff like that, some people say, "Hey, make sure you compare, you use the market cap and all that." I just want you to know that I understand that, but most of the typical people on an everyday basis, when you talk share price, it's easily understood more than market cap. But I understand what you were talking about. So I pointed it out on Twitter, and I kind of mentioned that the share price got to $20 and then later on $10, and the market cap is around 400 million back in 2018, was based on Libervant.
Yes.
Okay? Anything wasn't even in the picture.
It was bonus territory. Like
so
bonus.
so the market cap got to 6 years ago, got to where it is right now because of Libervant.
Yeah.
And now you have, since then, the company has added Anafilm, which has a potential. And I think CEO Dan Barber is kind of lowballing this, saying, a billion. Now he's like using the word over 1 billion annual sales. That makes it a blockbuster drug. I have no doubt that Anafilm will be a blockbuster drug. I don't care who comes before Anafilm.
What's the definition of a blockbuster drug? Because you work in sales. What is the actual
metric? So any drug that's reached $1 billion of sales. Okay.
Total lifetime?
Yes. So when it gets to $1 billion, it's now reached a blockbuster status. And then and then it keeps adding, and so you get to that status, and it will maintain because all the refills and new scripts and all that. But I have no doubt that Anafilm will get there, and the possibilities for Anafilm is endless. If you think about the entire militaries of the entire world, think about that. So soldiers are human, right? They have allergies, right? And they have these grueling conditions they have to go through and have all kinds of crap. They have to carry guns, grenades, whatever else. Why would you want to carry two EpiPens or a bulky, nifty device? Instead, you could have just carried like a postage stamp of Anafilm in a case, and in a sleeve. Imagine like a band-aid that you peel out and then you remove the band-aid. That's the case that's going to be in. That's the sleeve that's going to be in. And it's the convenience of Anafilm cannot be stressed enough. Okay, it is unmatched. And in this space, for this particular disease, severe allergic reactions and anaphylaxis, convenience is everything. You know, efficacy, we know epinephrine is going to work. We know that. But it's the convenience that keeps the compliance rate so low right now, right? So 5 million script for 33 million. It's probably way more than 33. You know, the reason is EpiPen is so inconvenient. Now, Neffy is the first needle-free treatment that will help, right? That will help, and I'm thankful that it's approved. But Anafilm will blow it away too. I know this. I have talked to my doctor friend. I have talked to doctors, primary care doctors. I have talked to allergists. I have talked to a nurse. I have talked to pharmacists. Some of them are my cousins. I mean, Anafilm is instantaneous that they would pick Anafilm over anything else. Right. So now, when I said that from now until the end of next year, it's going to be one catalyst after another, and that's going to be the case.
What do you? Yeah, it's looking like it's good. I just, for the 505, for those that don't know, the AQST 109, most of these prodrugs are on the 505B2 pathway, which is a regulatory pathway. You're basically taking a already approved drug, like epinephrine in this case, and you're just repurposing it and a different delivery mechanism. So typically these have shorter patent expiration. Like this is 20 years from the filing date, and I don't actually know when the filing date was for Anafilm, but there is pricing pressure. I think this is what some of the maybe the bears would say about it. Well, you got to consider the pricing pressure and adoption and these kind of things, because there are generic alternatives, but it's not the same. Like the whole point of Biotech Scanner's argument is that it's a paradigm shift. So if you take his extreme optimism, where I'm kind of on that side to you, versus the extreme pessimism, no one will adopt it. I think the fair answer is somewhere in between, and that's a huge market. Like that alone is a couple $100 million a year market potential, even if you don't go fully extreme like Biotech Scanner. That's my whole rationale for adoption, because the one of the now that it's looking almost obvious it's gonna get approved, right? The bears come and say this other stuff, pricing,
all those concerns. Some of that concern was raised, I think, just to get under our skin sometimes about the adoption.
Yeah.
That person that raised that concern about adoption has never stepped one foot in a door talking to a doctor about a drug.
Which you do every day, right?
I do every day for 19 years. I know what doctors, I know what nurses think. I know what pharmacists, I know preferred delivery system. I know what they, okay. Okay, so when they say adoption, they don't provide you is evidence for their thinking. I have seen the evidence myself. I have seen drugs coming out with twice a day, and then in a year, a drug that comes out once a day totally destroys the BID or twice a day. Convenience is because convenience and compliance go hand in hand. I have witnessed it for 19 years. So when someone said, "Oh, people is not going to adopt NFL," are they on drugs? Are they drinking again? Come on. Okay. Now, cost. Oh, there are generics out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it tells me something. It tells me that they have not even listened to one call, one earnings call, one conference call that the company had hosted. The latest one was with XC Wainwright, Senior VP of Sales and Marketing of AQST Therapeutics, said, "We will price our drug just like any device on the market right now. That includes generic. We will make sure that any patient can have access to NFL." What does that mean? That lingo that she uses actually pharma lingo.
Yep.
Access means affordability. What she is saying is whatever the generic price of EpiPen right now is on the market, NFL will be very competitive to that. Okay, cost is not going to be a concern. And I'm telling you right now, the moment NFL is the prescription numbers that companies receive on a weekly basis, that I do as well, it will drop so, okay? Because who in their right mind, as a physician, as an allergist, will prescribe an EpiPen over, over NFL?
Nobody. Once the education's there, and
Yes.
these same people are not criticizing ARS at all for the. Well, they're not bringing up these arguments with ARS. Neffy actually has higher cost of production. So if you want to talk about pricing wars, okay, it's hard to compete with generic, but when it comes to Neffy versus Anafilm, we've got the in-house capability ourselves. ARS Pharma already announced their affordability program and insurance support. I mean, all the typical stuff that you're gonna do. Well, you know that better than anyone, maybe watching even.
I can tell you right now. Let me go through that process with you.
Okay, please, please.
What is amazing about AQST is that a year before Anafilm is being approved, they are already start talking to insurance companies to make sure that once Anafilm is approved, that they already have the contract done, the pricing and all that reimbursement and all that worked out. Okay, and you know who's the expert of launching drugs like epinephrine? You
Sherry,
have
our girl
Sherry
Sherry.
Krasinski. She's done this before. This is the ARS has never done anything like this. Whereas you have a veteran working for AQST on launching a product. But you see, and I've said this before, once ARS reps are in doctors' offices talking about Neffy, doctors already know about NFL. And they're going to tell those reps, "Oh, yeah, that's great, but isn't there a film on the way?" That is what they're going to have to deal with.
And just for those watching, Sherry was the one who brought EpiPen to market.
Yep.
Right. So when EpiPen, I did some research. When EpiPen was first approved in 1987, it competed with manual syringe kits. So with epinephrine. So this was the same argument you could have made in 87. And AQST hired the same person that made EpiPen a household name. The same people could have been having those same arguments. Oh, why would anyone do a auto injector when you have syringe manual? Now it's 2-3 decades later or whatever, the same argument being made. It's the same person. She's
And
never
guess what?
retiring, man. This lady's never retiring.
Guess what she said about Neffy? She called out Neffy by name on the last conference.
I didn't hear that. What did she say?
She said, "Nobody's going to want to spray up their nose."
She said that?
Yeah. With Anafilm,
She's
you
like
just rub
gangster.
under your tongue and bam, it's done.
She's a gangster.
So,
why wouldn't they want the spray though? I mean, the spray's not that bad. I don't think.
No, but I think she's being competitive, right?
Yeah.
And me being realistic here, what I'm saying is this, and I said this already. Neffy is way better than EpiPen. It's needle free,
Yeah.
very convenient. You just spray up the nose, right?
Yeah.
But when you compare that to Anafilm, it's not even close as far as convenience go. The
Yeah.
carry part, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Neffy's gonna be the one having issues competing with price because if you look
yeah,
at it in tiers, okay, and there's some doctors that are gonna prescribe, okay, Anafilm, it's higher price, but it's worth it because of the compliance, and then we have these insurance assistance and all this stuff. Neffy, if they're outsourcing their manufacturing, this is an important part people don't understand.
yeah.
They're not gonna compete if it comes to those two.
Those costs I cannot control.
They can't. It's not
They
going to be
can't.
able to. Like
Yeah,
AQST will be able to control those costs.
yeah, yeah. So again, when it comes to insurance coverage and all of that, helping patients who cannot afford Anafilm, I promise you, all that will be worked out. All that will be laid out way before Anafilm is approved. I because she has done this before.
Mm.
She has Sherry Krasinski has done this before.
It's almost like poetry, honestly. The same person who launched EpiPen when the same arguments were made. Why would insurance companies pay for this auto injector? It's fancy
Yeah,
meter dose versus a manual syringe. I mean, it's the same argument. It's just 3 decades later, but even the technology improved. Now it's
yeah.
a
And you know what's with my pharmaceutical experience? Here's what I know. Doctors love new drugs. Okay.
I think that's okay. Why? Tell me
They
why? Because I don't not
they
believe you.
love advances in medicine. Okay.
Uh,
They I can tell you right now, I think they are excited about Neffy, and rightly so. But I think when Anna is on the market, the moment it's approved, they're gonna be riding like crazy. They're gonna be switching it like crazy.
do you
Okay.
think doctors? Because I want to ask you this question actually. I'm glad you brought it up. The doctor, a lot of the small clinics, mom and pop. I'm sure you go visit mom and pop, and you visit large health systems too.
Oh,
Large health system have the prior auth people, right? The ones that are all day. Their job is calling. Why did you deny this?
yeah.
That's going to be the main concern of doctors when it's a new drug is like they're going to get patients saying, hey, it's not covered, and then their person's going to have to fight. That's a
Mhm.
full-time job. How do you see that playing out realistically in the family practice office
Sure.
across the country?
Yeah. I can tell you right now, it's going to be playing out better than Neffy.
Better than
Because
that.
because I can tell that their preparation was not that great. I can tell that. Being in this industry, the fact that they were not ready for launch, even after a 10-month delay, that's horrible. Okay. And look what AQST is doing. They are already talking to insurance. They're talking to advocacy. They're going to conferences. They appear on Safely, YouTube videos, interviews, and stuff like that. When a drug is launched, a new drug is okay. Typically, what you want is about 50% insurance coverage. Okay, so if you can launch at 50%, that means um, 50% of the insurance in the United States cover that drug. That means the patient can get it for like $25 or $30. Okay,
Right.
if it's a
Right.
tier two, there's tier one is generic. Tier two is considered lowest branded copay, meaning you pay between $25 and $45. Tier three is from 100 to all the way to 200, 300, depends on what type of drugs. But when I said coverage, it what it includes is from tier two and tier two to tier four. Okay, but ultimately, for a drug to launch and have wide access, meaning most people can get it, is you want about 75% in tier 2 coverage. Okay, 75% lowest branded copay, meaning 75% of the population you're trying to reach will be able to get it between $25 and $45 per month.
Where do you think NFL will be? Which tier?
Well, based on what Sherry is saying, I think they're going to be very aggressive in negotiating because, again, they are already talking to them. So I believe that when NFL is launched, I think we're going to be at least 50% or more lowest rated copay. And I believe they will, they may have like a $10 copay, maybe a $0 copay coupon online and paper form, or it's kind of like a credit card. I think they'll have some type of forms, and then a lot of severe allergy and anaphylactic people population are kids. So I think they're gonna work a lot with the states on Medicaid. That's very important. It's similar to Libovant, by the way. Okay, so you kind of have to work with the state now. Medicaid, you don't get paid a lot for script at all. However, if you don't make NFM available for Medicaid, you're gonna look really bad. Okay, you're gonna look horrible, and so they will make that available. And looks like they are already doing that. And so with their experience working on launching Libovant, making it available to Medicaid patients, that will help them when it's time for NFL, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah, so the launch of Libovant will, that the relationship that they have in negotiating with insurance company, that will carry over to NFL, which is only months away.
Yeah.
So that's why they said in their own words, we are already leveraging Libovant launch for NFL. The sales force that they have, they're going to be hiring 10 reps. They're going to expand that sales force to include promotion of NFL.
Biotech scanner. How do the pharmacy benefit managers fit into this equation?
It fits in the equation just like any other drug. The way the laws are written, right, the way they're constructed as far as promotion of drugs and insurance and all that, unless it's changed, the pharmacy managers will always be a part of any insurance coverage. Okay, and as a matter of fact, insurance companies actually own these pharmacy benefit managers. So we view them as middlemen, but really not really middlemen. I mean, it's that they're not. It's very complicated, but the point of pharmacy benefit manager was to bring costs down, but that ended up not being the case. It ended up being the pharmacy benefit manager sometimes is the one that makes the most money, even more than the ones who makes the drug, which is ridiculous, right? So unfortunately, they're going to be part of it, and you can't really get away from it, okay? Because right now, even if you want to negotiate with the insurance directly, you can't because the insurance company already hired these managers, pharmacy benefit managers to work with the company. So it's that they're a part of it, but it's no big deal. It's just like any. So remember, all pharmaceutical companies have to deal with them.
The high market demand for epinephrine is large and growing. There's conspiracy theories on why allergic reactions are increasing. You don't need to be on X too long to figure out different conspiracy, the vaccinations and all kinds of conspiracy. Who knows? The point is the market's growing too at the same time. So not only is it meeting an unmet need and much better delivery, like an order of magnitude increase in, like you said, compliance, the fact that it's not needles, ease of use, portability, but the market itself is growing too, which.
Yeah. And since we are on, we talked about Neffy and NFL. When I said that NFL would destroy Neffy the moment it's approved. And I believe the share price of AOS will tank very hard.
You don't think they will try to compete though? Like, you don't think they will? ARS will try to price their thing competitively, and
There's only so much they can do. I mean,
yeah,
they still have to make a profit. Remember, they
yeah.
have a higher overhead than AQST.
And
Even
remember, they have a higher justification for their price. Like their
yeah,
market cap is 3 times higher than.
yeah, yeah. So with Neffy, so you have that Narcan device. So
Mm,
I tweeted this out yesterday. So in their storage handling and how to use, they said, okay, so spray up the nose, at whatever, either nostril. But they said the warning is if there's liquid dripping out after you spraying it, you may not get the full dose. With NFL, do you have to worry about that? No. Another thing, if you require another dose, let's say you take the first dose and the symptoms keep coming, gets worse, you need another dose. Then you spray it, you have to wait at least 5 minutes, but then you have to spray it in the same nostril. But when you're in that situation, isn't there a chance that you may have forgotten which nostril you sprayed it in?
yeah, but what?
You
It won't
there's
work
so
in
much
the other nostril.
stress,
It won't
right?
work. Should work in the other nostril, or what?
Yeah. So with NFL, do you have to worry about another tongue to put under? No.
So one tongue better than 2 nostrils.
Yeah. Okay. And and then freezing temperature does not work. It cannot be freeze. It will freeze at 5 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. Okay. And so you can't use it. So for Canadian friends, sorry, or Minnesota or New York, New Jersey, whatever else
Yeah.
up north, right?
Green
North
Bay.
Dakota, South Dakota, sorry. With NFL, you can freeze it, put it in your tongue, it still works. On storage, they set up to several days at 122 degrees. Sherry Kozinski said at 122 degrees, NFL film can last 30 days. Okay, in that type of heat for 30 days straight, and NFL still works at 122 degrees. At 104 degrees, okay, if you put it 104 degrees somewhere, I believe it's 4 months. It still works. So, and then of course, NFL film has no carrying case. When you have a case, you have to have a place to put it. Okay, and it's bulky. You cannot carry it everywhere you go. You have to remember where you put it last.
Yeah.
With NFL film, it can fit in the back of the phone, or
And they presented that very well at our boy Dan Barber.
Yeah,
we both have a man crush on him.
It's everywhere. You can carry it everywhere you go.
And people are texting me. The one of the doctors I work with, he's asking me a question. Also, other people are texting me about milestones. And I know you were bringing up, you just came out with the Catalyst. This is nothing but Catalyst coming up. I know the next conference, or the next big Catalyst is September 27th. I'm going to be in actually Austin, Texas with my girl, Ashley Margot. Shout out to her. That's one of our friends, one of our Save Our Sites, Latinos in Clinical Research business partners. We have a friend's wedding we're going to on that date. So I might not be available, but as soon as that's announced, we should probably do a follow-up stream of that, maybe the following Monday, because that's a Friday. I think that conference is like Friday after market hour. I'm not sure when. We can do it the following Monday.
Yeah, it's on a Friday. It's in the morning, 7 a.m. my time.
Is that a virtual? Is that a virtual conference?
It is.
I might watch it live as we drive to the airport.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sure you'll be live tweeting, man.
Yeah.
But can you go through some of the upcoming catalysts besides that? Like you were hinting, there's nothing but positive catalyst, and I agree, man.
So the the first immediate big catalyst. And this is really, really big because there's so many things involved. So on the virtual Investor Day, September 27th, which is the next immediate catalyst, the company will for the first time release the indication for AQST 108. And I'm going to correct you on this, Dan. It is the topical gel. It's no longer a cream,
Oh, it's
okay?
not a cream.
No, it's gel, which is better, okay?
Ah,
Gel is better than cream. And so that will be released. But they invited Dr. David Fair from UT Southwestern, which is about 30 minutes from my house, and that's the medical school that I was gonna attend.
biotech. I almost said your name. You gotta go visit him, man. Can you go with a camera and interview him 5 minutes?
That may be like insider trading thing. I don't know, but yeah.
No, it's live. You're live streaming, man. Oh, so who is
uh,
this? Because once you mentioned him, I added him on LinkedIn yesterday.
he did, yeah.
Um,
He
he's a big
so
deal.
yeah, so and I tweeted this out. Very fascinating, very interesting. They chose him because he's in immunology and molecular biology. He's been teaching for like 19 years at UT Southwestern, which is the most respected medical school in the state of Texas and one of the most respected in the entire country. So, because at this virtual investor day, they, I believe, are going to reveal other drug candidates besides AQST 108, and I believe Dr. David Fair is going to go over the the mechanism of actions of the potential drugs and how it's going to impact certain diseases. And I have a feeling that we may hear the word asthma in there somewhere.
You think? Yeah, you tweeted this yesterday. Why do you think asthma, immunology?
Yeah, yeah. There's some uses for epinephrine in asthma attacks.
Yeah,
There, AQST 108. We already know it's going to be skin dermatology.
yeah.
So maybe I have a feeling it may be related to some respiratory stuff because my company has a division in R&I, respiratory immunology,
Yeah.
and so that's just my guess. Okay, so that event is massive because currently AQC has potential revenue of 1.5 over 1.5 billion dollars per year. So AQC or Anafilm is over 1 billion. Libervan is over 100 million, and then AQC 108 they're expecting over 400 million. So that's 1.5 billion. So it depends on what disease state the couple of candidates coming out the Adrenoverse platform, you could easily add another 500 million to be on the low side of things. So eventually, I think going to be potential up to at least $2 billion per year for revenue for AQST, which is, and looking at the market cap now around 400 million, which is amazing to me. And this is why I invested in AQST 108. And so, it's undervalued, and I know what the company makes. And
I
that's
just
just about
asked.
Warren Buffett.
I just asked ChatGPT. So, can epinephrine theoretically work for asthma? And it says
Mhm.
yes. Theoretically, though not typically used as first-line treatment, epinephrine is a non-selective adrenergic agonist that stimulates both alpha and beta receptors, leading to several physiological effects, including bronchodilation.
Yeah.
This action can help alleviate symptoms of an acute asthma attack by relaxing the muscles around the airway.
So
It was historically used for asthma treatment
I,
before the development of more targeted bronchodilators. I didn't know
well,
that.
well, at least I know now what I was talking about, right?
Of course, that's
This is
ChatGPT just fact checked you, man. You're right.
so
That
It's
would
a,
have to be a device if they go that route, though, and maybe it wouldn't be a device because I'm
this is
working.
why I said don't invest in biotech unless you have some type of science background or you have a good community to follow.
You need a
Because
good framework. I think you need to develop, and anyone can do this. You need
yeah,
to develop a framework. And
yeah,
throughout my investing career, and I use air quotes because it was really gambling. Like, let's face it, until recently, I haven't gotten serious about investing
yeah,
until very recently. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like AQST. It's one of the first times I treat it like a professional, or at least as close to it as compared to my past,
yeah,
where I'm not just gambling or like because these communities said to do it that I'm gonna do it and not know shit about the product.
yeah.
I actually went in and you inspired me a lot. So I thank you for
Oh,
that.
thank you, thank you.
No, you really did, man. Like I think every biotech of this kind of market, small market caps, needs someone like you to explain and to be honest. Like, when things come up that are not so good, I've asked you, you've answered. So I think that has helped me develop my framework now for my next investments, right? And you're
I
helping too. You're
Well,
helping.
thank you, Dan. Yeah, and I've said this before. You can have some of the doctors are horrible investors as well.
Oh, they
So
suck at business.
it's 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 one thing to know how the drug works or medicine works, but it's another thing to be on the other side, on the sales and marketing side, right? So that is so I get to bring both in, right? So how many people on Twitter space spend 19 years in the pharmaceutical industry and to be in the rooms with these management people and
Yeah,
to have access to prescription data
yeah,
to insurance data and learning about preferred drug delivery systems. What is preferred? And I
yeah,
can tell you right now, with all of my 19 years of experience, Enofilm will be the preferred treatment of choice for this disease state. I have no doubt. Why? Because I've been in it for 19 years, but also I've talked to those doctors. I've talked to those nurses. I've talked to the common people, my friends. Actually, I was over Christmas party and I asked them if you have, a treatment for allergic reactions, spraying up your nose or put it on the tongue, what do you choose?
yep,
It's not even close. It's not even close. So I've said this that if you want to invest in a QC, you have to decide if you want to be a trader or you want to be an investor. And I don't judge. Do whatever you want to. But but I believe that as investors, we get to experience less stress. We get to relax more, and I believe ultimately we get to reap the rewards a lot more than people who are constantly hopping in and out, in and out, and they're trying to bash the ticker. Hopefully, that the price will drop, and then they'll jump back in, and then make a 2%, profit, and then rinse and repeat. Um, as an investor, we get to sit back, relax, and cheer for the company, and keep up with whatever they're doing. Conferences, you listen to conferences, you go watch them, and things like that. So I am an AQST investor. I am fortunate to have experience in the pharmaceutical industry in my son's background, and I'm fortunate that I have a group of followers that believe me, that gives me some credibility. And it's my job to remain credible. When I say something, tweet something, I have to present it in the correct way, as best that I can. Sometimes, do I sound too unrealistic or too excited? Yeah, maybe. But know this: my emotions is backed up by my research.
yeah. And,
Maybe I get that excited because I know much deeper than you.
yeah, me too, man. And but you also don't shy away. I mean, we've done these interviews like 4 or 5 times already, and they're becoming a regular thing. You don't shy away from the tough questions. Libervan as well. What you just said about Anafilm, I think Libervan, once we get that adult market in 27, I think we get like a 3 year window to sell, and so till 2030. That's going to be the preferred treatment for epilepsy. I mean,
It
that's
well, let's put it this way: the moment Libervan was approved for a 2 to 5 year old, they are already getting calls from children's hospitals, schools, and other organizations asking, when can I get Libervan for these kids? Or, in the hospital, right? So you have a company that is already generating around almost $60 million per year. And that is so rare for a small biotech company. Go and find these companies. Go and find a small biotech company that's generating around $60 million per year. Go
and
find it.
my
Okay.
point in that is, even though I was using air quotes around my investing career, I did learn a few things here and there. One of the things I learned, the first rule I don't want to violate if I'm investing in a biotech, and I'm not just speculating, like investing like I am with this one all in,
Yeah,
you want to bet on the company that has a platform, not just one product.
correct.
That's one thing I've learned that has stayed with me over this decade. And
Yeah,
you've seen this shift in the biotechs. It's not just about one over the last decade, decade and a half. Platform do you have? Not which product. That's like
right.
1980s style of research and development. Now it's platform. Let's develop a platform. If you talk to like AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly, they're talking about what's your portfolio. They don't care about one or two things. And when something like ARS and Neffy is valued at 1.2 billion with only one product and no platform to speak of, and you've got an established platform already, like
Yeah,
with approved drugs at one third the market cap,
yeah.
something doesn't add up. Either that one has to come down, and now they're fairly priced, and they're still not fairly priced, or this has to go up, or they have to meet somewhere in the middle. And the chances of AQST going up versus that one going down is a lot higher, in my opinion.
Well, let's put it this way. They both ARS, or both Spry and AQST, they have similar share structures, right? One is 96 million. AQST's got 91 million. And if you look at the price movement, 11 months before Neffy was approved, I mean, it skyrocketed from, you know, 290 all the way to 16. And so you can wait until later on to jump into AQC if you wanted to, but I guarantee you now there are smart people that's going to jump in way before you. And so you can invest now or you can wait later and invest. It's going to pay a much higher price. To answer that question about catalyst, so the big catalyst is that virtual investor day.
Yeah,
That's going to be big, and then immediately after that, it's going to be the top line result for the oral allergen syndrome challenge. That is the final supportive trial that AQST has to do. This study is extremely important. Okay, it's very important. Okay, this study was basically the last study that Neffy had to do.
yeah,
Right. So and then after that, then they will initiate. Actually, after that, they will have a pre-NDA meeting.
right,
Okay, pre pre-NDA meeting. After the pre-NDA meeting is going to be the initiation of the pediatric trial for NFL.
I see. That was the
After
part
after we get the results of the pediatric trial, which is going to be short, very simple and short, according to the CEO. After we get the result, which I think is going to be again positive, then they will file the NDA, okay, new drug application for NFL. Now, the NDA process is not as we think. Oh, let me turn in this form to the FDA. No, it takes a lot of time. And that is why you will hear the CEO said, we're going to start the NDA process in Q4 and probably will submit it in Q1 of 2026 or
Yeah.
2025, right? 2020, yeah, 2025. Sorry.
25.
So yeah, so they're gonna start around Q4 2024, which is the end of this year. Initiate the NDA. What does that mean? What is initiate NDA process? That means they put all their ducks in a row. They're going to be talking to the FDA. Here is what we're going to send you. What else do you need from us? So they're going to be going back and forth. So it could take a month or two, right? And then they get everything. They feel like, let's say the FDA said, hey, get this for us. Okay, we'll get it. So that may take them 2-3 weeks, So after they got everything and they check with the FDA again, okay, is this everything that you need? Then they will submit the NDA. That's why you hear them say, we'll begin the process of NDA and then we'll submit in probably, Q1 of
Right.
2025. So what I'm thinking is the PDUFA is going to be October or November 2020.
That'll be nice. A
Yeah,
Christmas gift for.
yeah. But so remember what Sherry said that they're gonna launch NFL in the winter. Okay, why do they want to?
Winter?
The highest demand for NFL is gonna be in the spring and starting in March. But they're gonna launch in the winter, 3 months prior. Why is that? Because it takes time to get into offices. It takes time to have these meaningful conversations, and then boom, sales can
Yeah.
drop in March.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's a slow process. You do this
That
all the time,
well,
right?
the fact that Sherry knows this, and
Yeah.
me from that side, I know exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah, because how many times you've gone to a doctor's office
Yeah,
and the doctor's not there, you bring sandwiches or whatever, the doctor's not there. Next time I come, I'll talk to him, right? And then
yeah.
that's time. Time is money.
Yeah, so it's going to be launched during the slow time, and then so by the time the patients come to see the doctors in March, they already know everything they know about NFM, all the coupons, all the insurance coverage, and everything. So this is why having Sherry in charge of the launch is
Yeah.
amazing. That's why her hiring was such a big deal. And I pointed that out. So, anyways,
And if we follow Neffy, so back to the pediatric, Neffy, if we follow their approval, because I mean they kind of are they're the ones that went out there into the darkness first. So they're like exposing a lot of the roadmap, and FDA approved it for 66 pounds and above, right? For
yeah,
their nasal spray. Um, they've got it approved. Now they're ongoing. So while the drug is approved, they have a supplemental NDA for children weighing less than 66 pounds, 33 to 66. So that could probably be the exact same roadmap for NFL too. If the
yeah.
FDA, I mean, that was not that long ago. It was just last year or this year.
Well, yeah, but I need to reach out to investor relations
Yeah.
because based on, yeah, I mean, based
What
on
the
what I've
FDA,
seen, that
what the FDA
they
told.
may, I don't know, they may apply for both indications at the same time based on the trial scheduling. Because remember, they finished the pediatric trial and then they filed an NDA. So I was wondering, and I need to reach out to them if they are actually trying to get two indications at once here, because
Yeah.
there's no need for them to wait, because the results are already in. So I don't know, or I don't know if the FDA requiring them to file two separate,
Right. Yeah.
NDAs.
I would guess something about the 66 pounds is like a benchmark for the FDA that we may have to follow because of the epinephrine. But the FDA did tell Aquestive during the Type C meeting, finish the adult studies first, then we'll do the pediatric and especially the PK study for allergens, exposure to allergens in the pediatric population. So just like the adult allergen one now, it's gonna be the same kind of
Yeah,
test.
more than likely, it's probably follow the same roadmap or the path of Neffy,
Yeah.
because I actually have not seen a drug getting approved to two patient group together. So more than likely, the adult indication is going to be first, and then they have to file a supplemental NDA after that. So yeah, it's going to be fairly simple. So
And they'll probably use the same clinic or the same site that they used for the um, epilepsy. I mean, that was pediatrics. Because for this one, you're going to want to recreate the allergic reaction. So, you probably need like,
yeah, they have to do the same thing, whatever they did with the adult trial.
yeah.
Now so these supportive trials, I'm not sure if the FDA has seen enough to require the same thing, but they probably will. And then
Hmm.
so after the filing of NDA, then now the attention is going to be geared toward AQST 108 clinical trial data.
Hmm.
And then I haven't talked about the announcement of the official launch of Libovent. And then we're going to get sales update and things like that on Libovent. So we're going to get trials for data for AQST 108. And then at any time, the company should be applying for, IND, investigation of a new drug, right? For the potential drugs that's coming out of the Adrenoverse platform. So, they have to apply for IND for those agents, and we'll get PRs on those. So as you can see, it's going to be one thing after another. And then, of course, all the way to 2027, when they will officially launch Lubricant for all age groups. So there are so many things. Now, somebody asked, well, are they going to go solo? They're going to, choose a partnership or whatever. The way that they are being built right now is they're going to do both. And it looks like they're going to do both. They're going to have their own sales force, and then they're going to use an external sales force for a lower decile physicians. Okay. So, for example, they're going to have their sales force focusing on the high decile. So, every allergist they're going to be calling on.
Yeah.
For a primary care doctor and some other type of doctors, they probably use another sales force. Maybe Vitress may be interested in co-promoting with Aquestive.
Yeah. Or Akivia,
So
one of those. One of the interesting things, just comparing the Anafilm versus Neffy. So, from what I understand, Neffy went NDA, traditional NDA pathway, which allows longer market exclusivity, but this is just for nasal spray competitors. So you can't have a nasal spray generic. The Anafilm went 505(b)(2), which is a faster pathway. And that's what they're doing, it seems like, with all their platform, which is smart because it's faster, it's cheaper.
yep.
You have the con is you have less of a market exclusivity. But here's the thing. Here's the part where I don't think people realize the film is also in house. You can't replicate the film. Like if a generic wants to do it, they're gonna have to go to Aquestive to request the
Okay.
same generic, right? They do
Okay.
that themselves, right?
Let me tell you right now, you don't have to worry about generic NFM. You know why? The FDA is not going to take a chance on a generic version, because with generics, you have the variability room. with life and death situation, you cannot afford that. So what does that mean? That means the FDA is going to make the generic company do the clinical trials. They're not going to do that. It's too expensive.
Like
And
bioequivalency or bioequivalency studies, or because how
yeah,
did the EpiPen get generic? The generic
yeah,
Epi.
yeah. But they have to do the PK trials and PD trials. And,
Yeah,
and the thing is, if you want to make the film, you have to have a manufacturing capability.
that's what I'm saying. You have to go
You have
to
to
egg.
build all of that up. Where's the value in that anymore, right?
They
So
would have to go to AQST to get the film
yeah.
because they're the only
So,
ones that
so
make this
the
film.
patent is not just the drug, it's the
Right.
film.
That's what I'm saying. That
Yeah.
what we open this live and what we maybe if you want like wind it down on that same note, like people really don't understand. It's full platform end to end. It's a moat, which is what Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger want.
Yeah. The CEO says this. Their technologies, they control the absorption and
Ah,
the conversion of epinephrine. Yeah, so that is hard to do. I mean, that is because epinephrine naturally works very fast, but you don't want, in certain situations, you don't want epinephrine to work fast.
too
You
fast.
want it to be slow enough to be effective with certain conditions, you know. So when you can control the absorption rate and the conversion rate, that means you can that's why they said that there are possible 20 drug drug candidates coming out of the Adrenoverse universe or platform, because the absorption control and the conversion control of epinephrine, that is what they have. And nobody's got that right now. So,
Right. There
yeah,
are a few other manufacturing firms similar to Questive that do like film, some kind of film. There's a couple. I'm looking them up now, but they would have to like Kintor Pharmaceuticals is one. Transmucosal, that's what they use. Adhex focuses on oral thin films for pediatric and geriatric who have difficulty swallowing tablets.
yeah,
Zim has one for orally disintegrating films. And then Intelgen next in oral film platform. But like you said, they're going to have to go through the PK study. You know, it's going to be expensive trials, and they may or may not want to compete. I mean, if I were one of them, maybe you do it. I don't know.
yeah. But when you're talking
You have a platform.
about anaphylaxis, it's life and death.
Yeah, yeah,
The FDA is like, no, you got to do the same thing that Questa did.
yeah.
Not going to do that.
And that's
They're,
what I like about this executive team. They're not resting on their victory. You know, they're on to the next. Like
yeah,
they're like a machine. Like and a film fails, okay, they'll go back. If they receive CRL, they'll go back and redo it, just like
yeah,
Neffy. But
yep,
at the same time, their team for the 108, the topical gel,
yep,
proceed. You know, business as usual. That doesn't affect you. You
right,
focus on this. This is, and now they're gonna come out with maybe the asthma one. Who knows?
yep,
That's all independent. That's the platform you're getting. You're not
yeah.
just depending on one thing. So
Yeah, but the other good questions.
that
Anything
was
else?
it. I mean,
All right.
we had a lot of viewers. I think a lot of like people just interested but not wanting to comment. I think you've been people don't comment because you've been putting like you basically educating people. I don't think many people understand it very well. Like I consider myself better than average on it now, but a lot of it is due to you. Like I said, you inspired me to really focus on this one. If I'm gonna invest, I need to focus on this. So why not forget about all these other things? Let me just get into this. And I know you're big into aura. I'm into that too now, but this one for sure. We're in the right
Well,
place, right time.
well, yeah, I've said it before that there are some people on Twitter's got like 100,000 followers, and they claim to be pharmacists or retired pharmacists. That's fine. But what I've noticed is it's like they release a ticker a day,
Yeah,
and then they jump in and out, and their followers, like, basically their followers just eating leftovers, and many of them ended up holding the bag.
that was
Right?
me for a while. I got
So,
excited about something. Oh, let me
yeah,
do it. Okay. Some of them I made money, others I lost, but I learned a few things. Like, you want the platform, you don't want the product so much. You want the team.
yeah.
This one has this one has a
Well,
lot, and you want the undervalued. Like,
yeah.
this is
What I'm
undervalued.
trying to say is, you want to make money, you only need a handful of. Well, first of all, high biotech is so high risk. You shouldn't be jumping in and out of tickers, man. You can get burned. And so
Yeah,
you need about 3 or 4 solid ones, and just stick with them, and sleep well at night. So one of my followers, had a rough day yesterday. One of the company he invested in dropped 60% because the trial failed. And for me, I'm like, that happens. But what I wanted to ask was, how much did you know, right,
yeah,
about
yeah,
that company? And because for me, the trial result has to be 90% chance of success before I put my money in it. If it's 80, no, I'm not. It's got to be 90 or above. And so, and a lot of these people, 50-50 is enough for them. And that's gambling. I'm not going to gamble my family's money. I'm not. With AQST, according to the chief science officer, AQST, we are now with MFM on the path of, we're on a de-risked path to approve. So, and then the CEO said, Anaphylm is at its final phase of developmental phase. That means it's about to go on to commercial phase. So in their mind, Anaphylm is approved already. They're
yeah.
already prepping for commercialization, and with more than a billion potential sales, current market cap's around 400 million. Are you kidding me? It's undervalued. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be a long-term investor in AQST.
I mean, with that being said, I think it's a good place to end it, and just keep looking forward to your tweets, biotech scanner. And I know every day I open X, I see your stuff on there, and I'm actually curious to see what you're tweeting and other people's reactions. But I've been following this one very closely for quite some time, and I
Well,
finally feel good about one of my conviction. I was gonna say to your follower who unfortunately, the trail failed. What's your conviction before the test versus after? Like, this is why I like the platforms. If you CRL, would that weaken my conviction? No. Like, okay, let's buy
we-
more. You know,
we'll talk about this more as we get closer. So we're gonna do a session on possible outcomes and what to prepare for as investors. Because
yeah,
I saw what happened with Neffy.
yeah,
I'm gonna walk with everyone on what are the possibilities and what could happen and things like that. So hopefully that even worst case scenarios, we won't experience the same thing that Neffy investor had to go through, right?
yeah.
So we'll do that at some point.
All right, guys. Everybody go follow Biotech Scanner if you're not already. Go do your own due diligence. Don't listen to what two people on X are saying. Go look at it yourself. Why you need someone else to tell you if it's good or bad? Go look at yourself. Use Biotech Scanner to develop your framework. That's what I use. And I have my own now. I have my own framework. We're not 100% in agreement on everything, but we're share a similar framework. I think that's the important part, is the critical thinking on
Yeah,
your behalf, and not just blindly following
right.
other people. So thank you so much, Biotech Scanner. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Everybody follow. Bye, 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 bye.